Hey y'all, Dayless, Tennessee. Doing a pantry meal today, doing some spaghetti sauce, so I thought I'd kind of bring you all along. I'd already started my ground beef and I thought, oh, I need to pull the camera out and do this. So I'm going to put a link to where I got the recipe for this, and the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I am completely out of spaghetti sauce, or home canned spaghetti sauce. We ate the last of it a few weeks ago, and I've got to wait for tomatoes to come in before I can make some more. This is called Kay's All Day Spaghetti Sauce, and it does have to cook and simmer for a while, at least 5 to 7 hours, once you get it all put together. I am going to be modifying this for our taste, and especially husbands. One thing it calls for is 2 pounds of ground beef. Well, I'm only going to use a pound. This is some I had thawed out to use this week, which is just about browned. It also calls for 3/4 of a medium-sized sweet Vidalia onion chopped up. Well, no onions, not going in there. Can't have it. 2 cans of 14.5 ounces each of petite diced tomatoes. Well, I'm going to use some of my home canned tomatoes, so I'm going to have to cut these up because they are definitely not petite diced at all. 2 cans of tomato sauce, 1 can of tomato sauce, 8 ounces. I've got that right here. And this Red Gold is our preferred brand. 6 ounces of tomato paste, same thing. Got those out of the pantry. It calls for powdered spaghetti sauce mix, spice mix. This is thick and zesty. I've had this in my pantry since last summer. Because I bought it to keep on hand for just when I make this recipe. Because I made it before last year and I liked it, and my husband didn't get to try it. So I was going to make it for him since we are out of spaghetti sauce and he wants some spaghetti time. Alright, it also calls for, let's see, I didn't hold those up, but those are my canned tomatoes I've got to cut up. Okay, balsamic vinegar, going to go in there. Brown sugar. Let's see, 2 tablespoons of the vinegar and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, finely diced or minced. I'm just going to use this that I had on hand in my refrigerator. I know a lot of y'all have fresh or dehydrated. Use it. Basil. I do have dehydrated basil from my garden last year. That's the last of it. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon. I discovered 2 teaspoons was too much for our taste last year, so I'm cutting it down. Half a teaspoon of thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. Let's see, I didn't pull the rosemary out. I forgot to get that out. I do have 1/8 of a teaspoon of parsley flakes and half a teaspoon of garlic salt. It also calls for 1 green bell pepper, diced, medium size. I'm not putting bell pepper in there. I think I have some dried macaroni peppers in my pantry. I need to go dig those out. I'll put those in there. A few of them, not that many. 8 to 16 ounces of mushroom, fresh sliced. If you have dehydrated, use them. If you have canned, open them up, drain them, and use them. I'm going to leave the mushrooms out because husband's not crazy about mushrooms. 2 green onions with green stalks, thinly sliced. No, it's onions, not going in there. 1 can of black sliced olives. No, not for us, not in this. Okay, and then 1 package of thin spaghetti or similar pasta, that'll come later, and Parmesan, grated, shredded for the top for serving. So, okay, got the brown ground beef in here browning. In fact, it looks good, and I need to drain it. After this, you add your onions. Once you've got the ground beef, add your onions, cook there until there's no remaining peak, and drain off any liquids and set that aside. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my tomatoes cut up so they're a little bit more petite size, and we'll bring you back when we start mixing the sauce. Alright, I have got my tomatoes all cut up, and I ran a few of them through a sieve. Fine mesh to try to prevent so many seeds from going there. I was noticing I had a lot of seeds done in those tomatoes. These tomatoes I had put up I canned those with a neighbor. She's actually the lady who got me started canning. And she's pretty set in her ways about things. I don't care to can with her anymore as I have learned more about canning. There's some things that I question that she does, and you know, I'm not going to try to tell her how to can her own food, but you know, for mine and my husband's safety and anybody else I feed this food to, I want to know that it's safe and not have my doubts about it. So anyway, these were done according to the way she did them with her grandmother, and that's fine. These were fine. They were just tomatoes. But anyway, there's that. So I've got the tomato sauce and the paste mixed in with them, and got it heating on top of the stove here. Try to keep that up, you can see it. I'm going to dump the package of spaghetti sauce mix in there and get that blended in. Probably won't need quite as many spices as is called for. I don't think I used the thick and zesty blend last time. Let's see what all it's got in there. It's got basil, paprika, garlic already in there, and it's got some onion in there. So okay, that's fine. No thyme, so I'm going to put the thyme in there. I guess since it's already got basil in there, I'm going to save my basil for another time. Already got oregano in there. I'm going to let this cook. Well, no, it doesn't say oregano. Okay, I'll put a little oregano in there. Oregano can be a little, you know, I might ought to let this cook down a little bit before I start adding the spices. That's what I'm going to do. So we'll just set those off to the side, and this can simmer for a little bit, and let me see where we are next on it. Okay, it had me fill the pasta can with, the paste can with water and add it to the pot. I did half because I used all the juice that was in with my tomatoes, so I'd rather have that in there. Alright, so stir well. It says to add the balsamic vinegar, which I'm about to do, and the brown sugar. In fact, I'll do that first because that's dry. And then it says to add the other seasoning. Stir, heat until the tomato sauce begins to bubble. Boil lightly, reduce heat, simmer, add the beef. Okay, so get our brown sugar out. And I did say 2 tablespoons of that, right? Yep, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Pack it down in there. Spin it away so you can see. There's 2. We're already starting to bubble. Barely got it on medium. Alright, and 2 tablespoons of the balsamic vinegar. Let's shake it up a little bit. My husband loves balsamic vinegar, so I figured this would be one he would like. Alright. I believe I am going to go ahead and add the garlic salt, and it called for about half a teaspoon of garlic salt. I love garlic, so I'm not worried about there being too much garlic. Okay. And I'm not going to add the minced garlic just yet until I get this up to where it's bubbling and I can give it a little bit of a taste and see how I'm going to like it. So anyway, okay, we're going to let that simmer a little bit and we'll bring you back. Okay, got that simmering now. It was bubbling a little bit. Actually, it was bubbling right out of the pot. I ended up adding 1 teaspoon of the minced garlic to it after I gave it a taste. About maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, and maybe half a teaspoon of parsley flakes, because with that zesty seasoning in there, it's pretty good for, I mean, the way we like sauce to taste. At least I hope so. It tasted good to me. So we'll see. I'm dumping the ground beef in there now. And I'm going to, these are macaroni peppers that I grew. These were from 9/30/14. So I've had them in the pantry for a little while. But I've sucked the air out of the jar, so it should be fine. I don't know if y'all could hear that or not, but yeah. So I'm going to put just a few of these in here, not many. They are, for those of you who don't know what macaroni peppers are, they are a sweet Italian pepper. We are not crazy about peppers, bell pepper or otherwise, but I'm going to add just a few of these in here. Tear that one up a little bit, just for the flavoring. So I'll let that in there, and that'll rehydrate. Not many. And I'm also, as I originally said, I'm going to reseal that over there by the food saver. Said that the original recipe calls for 2 pounds of ground beef or ground chuck, whichever you prefer to use. I used 1 pound because I'm going to add meatballs to this. My husband likes meatballs. I already had some made up in my freezer. This was our last bag, so I'm going to have to make some more. That means getting some ground meat, more ground beef, ground pork, and deer meat out to mix some of those up, to make some more and put them in the food saver and keep them on hand. They're real handy. I'm not going to add those just now because they're already cooked. So I'm going to put the top on this, and we're going to let this simmer for a while. I'm going to have to stir it about every 30 minutes, I believe it says. And gosh, I've already gotten sauce all over my stovetop from it bubbling out. So anyway, when we get ready to add the meatballs, we will bring you back. Bring you back in on a little progress with the spaghetti sauce here. It's really cooked down nicely. I've had this on since about 1 o'clock, and it's almost 5 o'clock now. I don't know if you can see the line back here, but the sauce originally started out about up here, and now it's down a good little bit. It's nice and thick, and I forgot to bring you back when I added the meatballs in, but they're in there. There they are. So we're waiting on the spaghetti to cook. I'm going to put some garlic bread in the oven. Sorry about that. And I'm going to be fixing up a plate of this, and there we'll have another pantry dinner. I'll bring you back when I have it all plated up and show you what it looks like. Here is my finished plate of spaghetti. Got a little Parmesan cheese over it. Got my meatball there in the center. I know a lot of you ladies can your own ground beef. I've not done that yet. I'm just now gotten worked up to the point where I feel comfortable canning meat, so I'll probably be trying to do quite a bit of that in the future. But this was it took a little while to cook. It's a slow cooking recipe, but it's, you know, and you could probably do it in a crock pot. I just don't have a good relationship with my crock pot right now. I'm not happy with it. I need a different one. But anyway, this meal I managed to get taped so that I could show it to you. I've done a couple of other meals that have been done out of our pantry that I'm going to put some pictures of at the end of this video, and I'll try to do a voiceover on what we did to make them and what we used. Anyway, thank you for watching. Happy cooking. Another pantry home-style dinner that we did was with Zacon chicken breasts that we cut up into strips, battered and deep fried into fried chicken tenders. It had mashed potatoes and purple whole peas that were home canned, and also served on the side of that is some sweet relish also that I home canned last summer. Another home-style meal we did with Zacon chicken breast was to grill the chicken, served it on a bed of brown rice, had some home canned asparagus and broccoli florets that we had in the freezer. Also another pantry meal.